What's up, everybody? It's Legion of Raw, a different setup here. I'm not Dr. Chris Featherstone. It may say that on the screen. Dr. Chris will be joining us. He is live on assignment from the front row at a WWE live event this week. That's right. We have to say when we go to shows, wrestling shows, we're live on assignment. I'm Kev Kellam. You see me doing the wrestling news for Sportskeeda every day, do some interviews as well. And and that's Vince Russo, former head writer of WWE.
And former WCW world champion. Don't forget that, bro.
I'm sorry, I forgot to
say it.
Say it. Former WCW world champion. There we go. Get the biceps. Bicep curls, get the girls. Double bi. Get a little try in there. I'm getting a little tricep in there for you. There we go. Don't blow a gasket. Don't blow a gasket. Try to do that pump. Yes. Now WWE did a best of tonight. They did the highlights of the year, and there were some highlights and there were some wild stories. We'll cover kind of the biggest WWE things that happened this year. Overall, before we get into these topics, and I'll pitch them to you, Vince. You've been in that boardroom. You've been in the war room on both sides of Monday Night Wars. What do you think of WWE in this year? Because it's been such a wild year for them. There's been ups, there's been downs.
There's been one big story, period, end of story. The rest of the year was absolute trash. And, bro, how can I back that up? Bro, they just had a year-end review on Raw with nothing from Raw. What does that tell you, bro? Nothing significantly happened on Raw for the entire year. That all they could show you for 3 hours were WrestleManias and pay-per-views. You're going to tell me, bro, back in the Attitude Era, we couldn't have filled 1 3-hour show with what happened on Raw for the entire year? There was nothing from Raw. That tells you nothing happened for the entire year. The biggest story of the year, and nothing was even close to it. Nothing that they did in the ring. No Logan Paul, no Bad Bunny. The Vince McMahon story, to me, was the only intriguing story and the only story I cared about in the WWE in the year 2022. That was it. Nothing else interested me for the entire year.
We'll talk about those other things that interest you less, but obviously let's do it the Saturday Night's Main Event style. We'll open with Hogan, right? That is the biggest story of the year. I mean, inarguably, it's the biggest wrestling story of the year. It's probably the biggest wrestling story in years to see that Vince McMahon isn't running WWE, even if he relinquished from the company in a natural way or under more pleasant circumstances. It was pretty scandalous. It was under some very unfortunate circumstances. What do you think of that idea? I mean, is it just hard to even fathom that he would not be with the company at this point in his life?
Well, bro, you're seeing now with some recent comments that he can't even fathom it. And it's finally starting to settle in that, he stepped away, and now everything I'm reading is he thinks he made a mistake. And he thinks he should have never stepped away. And he thinks that he took some, bad advice. So if that is the way he is talking, I would not be the least bit surprised to at least see him attempt to make a comeback in 2023.
Dr. Chris Featherstone, live on assignment. Get the biceps in.
See, Vince and I, we got the matching Ohio State football jerseys getting ready for this coming weekend. I'm so pumped. I'm so excited. Yep, I got my Buckeyes in the back there. Vince Russo was a converted Ohio State football fan this year. That makes my day. I'm so excited about that. As people know, I am a college football guy, and I'm so excited about this weekend. Much more excited about that than anything.
Chris, Kevin's trying to get me to talk about this Raw show.
I am. I'm trying to get him to talk about wrestling. I'm the worst.
Can you explain to Kevin what we do on this show, Chris? Does he know about Toots and the Scorpion?
Toots! Yeah, man. Thank you for all your support, SK Nation. Kevin's he's a top of the line guy, man. He knows his
stuff. No doubt. He's great, and he's got a great broadcasting voice and a great broadcasting presence. Yes.
How dare you say that, Vincent? I think I have a very normal and approachable voice.
I was telling Kevin, Chris, you couldn't watch it because you were at the arena. Chris, this goes to show you how bad Raw is. Okay. Yeah. They did an end of the year 3-hour show. Chris, I am not exaggerating. Bro, there was not one clip from Raw.
Wow.
Not one. Every highlight.
Is that true? Wow.
Every highlight was a pay-per-view. There was stuff that happened at SmackDown. Wow. There was not one single Raw clip on. What is that?
Over my head. Vince, even when you said it flew over my head, because I was like, oh, it's just the best of the year, right? I didn't even figure that out. There was some highlight. I mean, you had to see Cody Rhodes do an interview. That was interesting. It wasn't anything groundbreaking. He didn't call anyone out. He didn't make a match, but it's nice to see him on TV. And it was, I mean, if you didn't watch WWE in the past few months, this is a nice refresher. But that's about it. I mean, like the biggest story of the year, they're not going to talk about Vince McMahon leaving the company. Obviously, that's what fans are talking about.
You know what, though? You know what, Kevin? They should, bro. They should. That's how they. How do you not talk about it, bro? That's how they would gain respect, by dealing with the issue and the matter at hand. These are the things, bro, they need to be talking about. Bro, what's going to draw a bigger number for them? Talking about the biggest story of the year, Vince McMahon, or having a Judgment Day package, for crying out loud? Because, Chris, that's all they wound up doing, like in the last hour. An Austin Theory package, Judgment Day package, bro, a Liv Morgan package. That was the whole last hour of the show. Wow. And I'm like, come on, guy. We really care about Judgment Day, bro.
That third hour is going to be atrocious, man.
Mm-hmm. I mean, am I
Can't
right?
Say no to the money,
did that not happen?
How much more money you get on a TV contract when you have that third hour of ad revenue? You know, it's a business. Like, that's the hard part, is you're going to say no to all that money? Like, that's the part I'm like, I get it, because 3 hours of TV every week, it does. 2 hours TV show, it's fine. I've even heard, Vince, you've heard this before. Like, some people say, oh, they wish a wrestling show is 90 minutes. I mean, and you had to produce these shows. Like, what's the challenge of doing a 3-hour show? You had some 3-hour nitros.
Well, I got to be honest with you, and I'm not exaggerating. I wrote 9 3-hour nitros. Mm-hmm. Okay, bro, with the roster we had no problem. We had, and there weren't 20-minute meaningless matches. With the roster we had, bro, we had no problem at all writing a compelling 3-hour show. And with the roster they have, it shouldn't be a problem for them either.
Yeah.
Can I ask a challenging question, Vince?
Yeah,
a challenging question.
Chris, he's envious because you don't have the.
I didn't get the memo.
All right, go ahead, Kevin. Go ahead, bro. Challenge me,
listen. We do podcast audio of the show, and we have a great audience. I wonder what they're going to think of what's going on in this series.
Listen, if they listen to this show every week, they are ready for the cues.
They know what's up. They know what's up.
Whatever you like. I love challenging questions. Go ahead.
No, but my thing is, so it's the best of the year for you. What are the highlights of the year that you enjoyed? Who are the players? Who are the storylines? What are the matches? What are the
nothing?
Moments? What's
zero?
Nothing. Okay.
Nothing. No, so bro. I am being dead honest with you.
Sure.
The only thing in this universe that I am a fan of is Bray Wyatt, and it's got nothing to do with Raw. I mean, it's got nothing to do with the WWE. It's got nothing to do with the way they present him. It's got nothing to do with the way they write for him. I am a fan of the guy and the man. Bro, outside of that, I am not. I'm not. The bloodline has been done to death. They have dragged out that story, much like the NWO, got dragged out until it became non-meaningful. They've reached that territory with the bloodline. I'm not going to lower the bar and say Sami Zayn is the greatest thing since Macho Man Randy Savage, because that's a joke. So if you want me to answer you honestly, the only thing I enjoy about this entire company is Bray Wyatt.
What do you think of this? I don't know if you know this. Madison Square Garden, live event tonight, wasn't on television. You were at one, and I know you know about this, Dr. Chris, but I don't know if you know about this, Vince. Bray Wyatt had his first match in years for WWE tonight. He wrestled on the Madison Square Garden card, a live event. It was a surprise. an open challenge with Jinder Mahal, who's been out of action. He's been on the live events. He hasn't been wrestling on television a long time. But I mean, this is pretty cool for fans, and a different thing that you see WWE doing with house shows, where they're kind of throwing these surprise things. And they also had a 5-way ladder match on it. I know live events, why would you give something like that away? What do you think of like a big match like that not being done on television?
I think that's okay, bro. If he hasn't wrestled in that long, bro, he needs to get some of the rust off. And he hasn't wrestled in a long, long time. So I don't have an issue with that at all. I could understand why they did that.
It's gotta be pretty cool if you went to the show and you didn't know you were getting Bray Wyatt too.
Yeah,
you know?
no, absolutely. Yes. Yep.
All right, I'll let you guys get to it. I don't have my Ohio State jersey. I wasn't ready. I didn't get the memo. Always appreciate what you guys do. Definitely, if you're checking us out on the podcast side of things, give us the 5-star review and pass on along the links. And check out the news videos and do it on the weekdays for Sportskeeda and WrestleBench. Go ahead and give that a subscribe. Have a good one, guys. I'll see you guys.
All right, take care, man.
You, man. All right, Vince.
So wait a minute, Chris. What did you go to? What, they had 2 live events tonight?
They had 2. They had a Raw and a SmackDown. Yeah.
So you went to the Raw one?
I did.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
All right. Yeah. So tell me about it, man.
It was actually cool, man. I actually enjoyed it. It was the house show was just a different vibe, man. It's just it wasn't a stretch. It didn't feel long.
How long was it?
You know what?
How long was it, Chris?
Probably about it started around 7:30 Eastern, and a little after 10 is when it was done. Probably about 10 or so, 10:15.
Yeah.
It was about a 20 or so minute intermission. So roughly 2 hours, a little over 2 hours.
Got it.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot of stretch to it. It was just match after match, and it just wasn't a lot of fluff. And so I did appreciate that, because I've been to live Raw shows for the past 20 years, and I don't enjoy them, man. I don't enjoy live shows. It's just fluff, and it's stress, especially Raw. Oh my gosh, it's torture. Yeah. It's just like pulling teeth, man. It's just stretched and long, and I just get tired because I'm so bored. I mean, I have friends that come and we just have a good time. You know, we just have a good time with each other, just being around each other, like, you know, like going to a concert or something like that. But other than that, man, I just don't have a good time. But this was a different feel to it, and it actually wasn't that bad, man. Toward the end, it was it dragged a little bit toward the end, but overall, it wasn't bad, man.
Well, you know, bro, there were 2 very interesting things. Because I watched it, Chris. I even wrote notes. There were 2 very interesting things to me.
I prefer showing jerseys.
Yeah, like I said, number 1, bro, there was 0 Raw highlights on a Raw highlight show. That's number 1. Number 2, Chris, not one of the highlights was a story. Like, like I said, I'm watching the Attitude Era now, bro. The highlight show would be the Austin McMahon story, the Undertaker Kane story, the DX story. You would have all these stories. Bro, this was pay-per-view match after match after match after match.
Sheesh.
That's what it was. And I'm like, bro, this is really very, very telling if you are a supporter of this product.
Yeah, wow. So if I understand you correctly, you said that on the 3 hours, so it was 3 hours long.
Bro, I'll give you the rundown, Chris.
This was a show.
This was a show, bro.
Right.
The Street Profits opened up with some TV magic gimmick that was ridiculous, okay?
So that was pre-taped. That had to be pre-taped because they were in Columbus.
Yeah, then we had Jackie Redmond and Corey Graves. I never saw Jackie Redmond before. I didn't know who she was. You ever hear? You know who she is?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Bro, this is the lineup. Lesnar versus Reigns with the backhoe.
Okay.
The return of John Cena.
Okay.
Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn.
Mm-hmm.
New Day versus the Usos.
Okay.
Becky Lynch against Bianca Belair.
That was SummerSlam.
Sheamus against Gunther.
Okay.
McIntyre against Reigns at the Castle.
Yeah.
Cross against McIntyre.
Okay.
Then they had a short thing of returns, and it was like Bayley's return and whoever, 3 other people returned.
Mm-hmm.
Cody, Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey,
Mm-hmm.
a Judgment Day package, a Austin Theory package, a Lashley package, and it ended up with Logan Paul and Roman Reigns.
Wow.
That was the show, bro.
Wow. That's terrible, man.
That was the show. That was it. It was all highlights of the big pay-per-view matches for the year.
This is why I don't see that really shows how they think about Raw, for one. And for two, like, you have the production team. Okay, I get it, and I actually don't mind, the production team, being off for today. It makes sense. You know what I mean? They wanted a lot of production, which is the reason why they did the 2 house shows. I don't have any issue with
I don't
that at
have
all.
an issue with that.
Yeah. Yeah. My thing is, you had last week, you could have given us a ton of tape, to do things to build up, for the rest of the, for next year, for the first Raw of the year. That's kind of a reset. That's leading into the Royal Rumble. So why don't you have the production team tape a bunch of stuff last week to build up for this week? It doesn't have to be a live Raw. It could even if you want to do this recap, they can still do things, last week and the week before to have enough tape to just give us enough substance, to build for next week. I don't understand why they wouldn't do that. Like, they would do that in the Attitude Era because it wasn't live every week too. It was live every other week. And a lot of times, why didn't you just give us enough tape for that?
Yeah, bro, there's no way we would have had a throwaway show if it wasn't going to promote and head towards the next show. Right. No way in the world. And that's exactly what this did, bro.
Wow. Yeah. And so like what Kevin said was, man, it's like, look, if you got that 3-hour money, if you got that 3rd-hour money, they're at the point right now, they're like, look, we've got this contract, locked and sealed. And so it doesn't matter what we do, we can give you trash and we're still going to get the same amount of money for it. And that's essentially what it seems like they did today. So that's really unfortunate. SK Nation, what are some of your favorite moments of 2022? When he asked you that question, I was thinking about it too. I would say for me, the only thing that stood out was the Bloodline for the most part. It is reaching its it is reaching that turnover point where the staleness is starting to kind of smell a bit. And I think from what I understand, building up to Mania, it does look like they're going to build it up, and it's going to be the end of the Bloodline come WrestleMania, at least Sami Zayn's involvement in it. So from what I see, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are probably going to beat the Usos for the titles at WrestleMania. So I don't know if that takes away the Bloodline. I don't even the crazy thing about this is that I see Solo Sikoa still kind of building himself, and I think that the Bloodline protects him. I don't see Solo by himself yet on the main roster, so I still think we'll still see some variation of the Bloodline just to be a group, just to protect Solo. So what do you think about that?
Well, bro, is there any talk about Reigns taking a break? The dude needs a break. I can't see him after WrestleMania not disappearing for a few months. Is there any talk about that?
Well, he kind of did that in the summertime, around fall time this year. So
but how long was he gone for, bro?
I mean, he's still like that. He just pops in. He'll pop in once or twice a month nowadays. So he has kind of like a Hogan schedule. From what he did, which I think he should have. I mean, that makes sense. And I like that too. I like the fact that he has that Hogan schedule because it brings up the prestige of the championship. I just didn't like. I told you this before. I couldn't stand when AJ was champ. This had to be about 16 or 17 around there when AJ was champ, and he was just on SmackDown all the time, and like he felt just like everybody else. He was having like top of the second hour matches a lot. I was like, what is this? He feels like a mid-card guy, what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I wasn't a fan of that. I do like the fact that, Roman Reigns is making that presence. I think that he probably, I was having a conversation with a friend today. This past weekend. And I was like, you know what? There's a part of me that believes one of two things. Either one, Roman Reigns is going to go both nights. He's going to compete both nights and lose one of those nights. Or two, he's going to win at WrestleMania and maybe drop the title at SummerSlam. So I think it'll be one of those two things. If you have a choice between one of those two things, would you have him compete both nights at Mania, or would you have him lose at SummerSlam?
Well, who's the opponent we're talking about here?
So, it's still rumored. It's if it's Rock, does he do Rock one night and like Cody the next, as far as like trying to give the rub to some current talent? And if there's no rumor for SummerSlam, I would say someone like a Bobby Lashley or something like that would be ideal.
Well, bro, it's funny because if he does, say he does back-to-back nights.
Mm-hmm.
Say the first night is The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And say it's a knockdown, drag out, one of the greatest matches in the history of the WWE.
Yeah.
Say Reigns goes over.
Yeah, which he should, I think.
Right, which he should. I agree with you 1,000%. Okay. See, then, bro, then you have a problem where if he faces Cody Rhodes the next night, and then Cody beats him because they kind of gave Reigns the out, that he went an hour with, The Rock the night before. So that's his out.
Yeah.
Well, bro, in giving Reigns an out, you're kind of tarnishing Cody's victory.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you would want to get off with that foot on Cody.
I can see that. That makes sense.
I think that would really, really, really hurt Cody, bro. I think it would protect Reigns, but I think it would really hurt him.
I think he should go over Cody too, honestly, because I just don't see. Honestly, I think it would be a step down, for Cody. I think it should be a current talent for the second night, because him beating Rock the first night wouldn't make sense to give him that rub, even more that rub to lose, to give that heat over to a babyface for the second night. I'm all for that. I think that would be a really good way to build up the second night. I just think that Cody would be a step down. And this is why I say it, because one, I'm just not sold on the Cody train yet. Mainly for me, it was like Cody came from being Stardust. Yes, he made some noise in AEW. Yes, AEW was his baby. But at the same time, you can't like bring a top guy in AEW and automatically say, okay, well, he's a top guy on Raw. I don't see that for one. Yes, he came back at WrestleMania. That was some good presence. But the only thing that we've seen of Cody this whole year was 3 matches against Seth Rollins. And so if he was there still, I think that could have really built him, to that superstar level. There we go again, ladies and gentlemen. There's the Hackhausen. They could have built him to superstar level, but at the same time, we haven't seen Cody in 6 months. So you're going to bring him back to win Rumble, and then you're going to hot shot him to beat Reigns at WrestleMania. I don't think he has enough equity in the WWE yet to get that spot to me.
I agree with everything you just said, Chris, but the only thing I'm looking at is, bro, what do they got after Cody Rhodes? Like what? Like really? Like, well, that's what I'm saying.
I think I'm cool with Lashley, honestly. I think, because you and we talk about this all the time. We talk about believability. All right. So I'm thinking about like who's back there who's believable that could beat Roman Reigns, other than Brock Lesnar and the Braun Strowman, but he's basically like a comedy, like a circus gimmick, what they're doing with him. I don't like really what they're doing with him that much, but like there's only less than a handful of people that it's believable to beat Roman Reigns, and I think a match with Bobby Lashley would be believable to me, and I think the fans would get behind Bobby Lashley. Honestly, that would be my pick as far as someone who's believable, who's in the current talent. I wouldn't have someone like a Cena or an Austin or a Rock win, because that's just going back to the well. And the thing is, we've went to the well too much, with the same people. That's why I don't mind The Rock going against Roman Reigns, because we never went back to the well really for The Rock, for the sake of giving him the rub to someone. The only time we saw that was against Cena, and that was years ago. We're not going back to the well for The Rock like we've done with Brock and Goldberg. You know what I mean? So he still has that believability to him. The Rock does. So Austin the same way, but I just don't. Someone who's believable, I just don't see that with less than. Other than Bobby Lashley, who else really?
Yeah,
I mean, people are saying Bray, but
nah, bro, they've you and I have talked about this forever. They've really backed themselves in the corner with not being able to make new stars. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, bro.
Yeah, and we talk about rock stars a lot, right? And it's like that's that thing. Like, who are the rock? We've even talked about this. Who are the rock stars on Raw? Who's the baby faces that are infectious, that has that Hogan effect? When he comes out, the aura is different, the air is different. It's just that excitement, that luster. Who on the main roster on Raw right now has that appeal? I don't see anybody with that appeal. There's a couple super chats we'll get to. Vince, your thoughts on that before we get to these super chats?
Yeah, no, bro, it's funny because when you bring up Hogan, bro, during that era, I swear to God, bro, there were probably 10 guys that could upset Hogan on any given night, and you'd believe it.
Yeah.
Seriously, bro.
Yeah.
Piper,
Yeah.
Paul Orndorff,
Paul
Orndorff,
Andre.
Yeah, Andre, Savage, Mr. Perfect. I mean, bro, literally, Jake the Snake Roberts, bro. There were 10 guys that literally, if they caught Hogan on a bad night, you would believe these guys, bro. The programs he had with DiBiase. DiBiase could beat Hogan on any given night. 10 guys.
Yeah.
Bro, there's not one today.
No.
Like, not one that you believe, like, oh my God, I don't know, bro. If he catches him, there's not one guy today, and that's all on them, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you have someone like a Kevin Owens who's once again going against, Roman Reigns, most likely at the Rumble. And it's like they've backed themselves in a corner so much that anybody they've done such a good job with Reigns feeling bigger than the business that they haven't done a good job with anybody else.
Right.
So they're going against Roman Reigns, and it's like, oh, that's just somebody else. Like
so
that these people are losing.
Yes, it's so lopsided, bro. Like you said, they put all the eggs in the Reigns basket, but you had to have something on the other side, bro.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if they would have built Hogan that way?
No,
there was no heel factory. There were no studs and Bundys and all these guys coming through. Can you imagine?
It wouldn't have made him the Hogan that he is now.
No, absolutely not.
And that's the thing.
Absolutely not.
When I did media back in 2017 in Orlando, I was a part of a Q&A session with Sting, Flair, and Jim Ross. And I asked Sting a question. I was like, what are your thoughts as far as like the current heel face dynamic and how it's so much, not really a thing, and everybody's just kind of chanting for everybody, and this is awesome chants and all that mess. And Sting said he doesn't like it. He's not a fan of it because he mentioned Flair and Rude. He said if there wasn't a Flair and a Rude, there'd be no Sting. What I mean? Because you had those heels that he said he was able to dance with, and because he was able to dance with, it made him the person that he is now. If there wasn't any like good just heels that people love to hate that could beat Sting, he wouldn't be the Sting that he is now.
Bro, you know where I would start? Because listen, bro, they've got nothing. They've got nothing. Here's where I would start, and it's been done and it worked. Bro, remember when Heenan was constantly bringing the next guy in, and then he finally had Andre.
Yep.
Bro, do that with Heyman.
Yes.
Have Heyman turn on Reigns, make Reigns a babyface. Then you take Heyman with all his knowledge and how many he is gonna go throughout the entire globe.
Yeah.
And he is not gonna sleep at night until he finds the guy. Then put him in that Heenan role.
Yeah.
And
I like
bring in monster after monster after monster. That's what I would do, bro. They've got to start doing something, bro.
And along those lines, that's when you can bring up like a Braun Breaker from NXT and that heel role.
Absolutely.
I mean?
Bro, that's when you could pluck somebody out of AEW.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'd be all for, Heyman bringing up Braun Breaker and having a Braun Breaker versus Roman Reigns feud, and Braun Breaker being a Heyman guy. It would be a surprise because Breaker was been a babyface, throughout his time at NXT. He brings some in from NXT he's the heart and soul of NXT. It has been for over a year now. The heart and soul of NXT, the baby face of NXT, comes in and runs roughshod at Roman Reigns and just lays him out.
Yep.
And Heyman's the mastermind behind that. Oh, absolutely, man. That could make that again, that would give some Roman Reigns someone to dance to. It's not someone who's basically almost unsalvageable, like they're trying to do with a lot of these people. They're doing the Drews and the Brays and all these people who've been damaged goods for so long.
Yep.
And I've said this before with Drew. Drew's one of my favorite, people on WWE, but they've tarnished, his push, his momentum so much, man, that it's hard to bring him back on that top level. Because he'll have those top level matches and lose. Have the top level matches then lose. Hogan didn't do that. He didn't have top level matches and loses. But when you bring someone like a Braun Breaker, he's not damaged goods. He'll come in from NXT to the main roster, and people will be like, he'll get the Heyman rub, because that'll help him get some, get a little bit more better introduction than just bringing him in. Like these NXT guys and no one knows who he is.
Yep.
If he had that Heyman rub, people like, I wonder I'll be more intrigued to see who he is who doesn't follow NXT. So yeah, I'm all for it. Awesome sauce, $5 super chat, bro. Hey, Chris and Vince, hope y'all had a healthy holidays. What are your thoughts on Flair burying all of his old friends on his podcast in his 70s? It's sad.
I was on that list. Somebody had to smarten me up that he buried me.
Did he really?
Over something, bro, that I've gone over a million times. He's still carrying on about being buried in a desert, bro. And I don't know how many times I had to go over the creative of what I was trying to do. But I don't know, bro. I gotta be honest with you, Chris. And I'm not just talking about Flair. I'm just getting so tired of these lifers in the business. Like, bro, move the frig on. Like seriously, man. Like it's time to move on. I'm getting so tired of them. I mean, I am making an effort to slowly but surely try to move away from this. I've already said I would never work for a major company again. Those days are over. The only one I work for is myself. But you just have, just some people that it's like, guys, like, come on, man. It's, it gets to the point of enough just being enough, man,
Yeah. I'm for, and of course, you make a living doing this. I'm for, people who are legends in the business and has been doing a lot, and have, years and years in the business. I'm for them cashing in and having a podcast and just, talking about, their time in the business. Cash in. I'm a business guy. Cash in. If you have the ability to do that. And Flair definitely has the ability to cash in. It's a different dynamic, though, when you're just burying people, like for the sake of burying people because you sound like bitter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
And
he's doing it, bro, to create controversy. I
and
mean,
that's Flair, man.
he's
That's Flair.
cutting Flair promos. I mean, that's
He's trying one more match, man.
Yeah.
Flair's always one more match away, man. That's
Yeah.
the one thing, and that, and that's further to my point. It's like, he'll be 73 years old, in a couple of months, and he still has that mentality of having one more match. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know,
Chris.
it's sad.
I'm telling you, bro, and I'm dead serious. He wants to die in a wrestling ring.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, bro. So he's looking at, okay, 73. Maybe I'll do it when I'm 75. Maybe I'm telling you, bro, that's how he wants his legacy to end.
Yeah.
I honestly and truly believe that, bro.
Yeah, I mean, like he's, I've seen recent podcasts and stuff. I mean, I've heard about recent, things that came up with him and Shane Douglas or something like that again. And Shane Douglas was talking about how like he can't separate, Richard Flair from Ric Flair, the gimmick. And unfortunately, like once you get yourself so much into this and you are a lifer like that, it's really hard. And that's when the psychology doctor comes into me, the whole personification factor. It's like, man, you gotta bring it down because you're a human,
Right.
more than you're a gimmick, and you have a life, you know what I mean? And I think you can't just live your gimmick too much, because the unfortunate part of that, Vince, is that your whole heart and soul in your existence is predicated based on your fan reaction.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that is a very dangerous place to be.
Right.
That your identity and your worth is based on how a group of people think about you. Like that. So talk about a very dangerous place to be in. And I think wrestling, period, man. I think a lot of wrestlers, they predicate their identity based on how a group of people, and they'll look at social media and, oh man, this person doesn't like me on Twitter, and these group of people don't like me on Twitter, and people can get in a state of depression because of that. And that's how the wrestling business presents itself, unfortunately, man.
Yeah.
And I can see Ric Flair being in that space, you know what I mean, because he lives the gimmick so much.
There's a lot of them, bro. It's not just Flair.
I imagine it's not.
I was reading a tweet from, it was from Michael Hayes, and it was Christmas. A Christmas tweet from Michael Hayes, and he was talking about a match on Christmas Day 40 years ago. And I'm like, oh, brother, like, come on, man. Like,
yeah,
come on, man.
And it's like, look, if that brought back memories from world class and things like that, I mean, that can draw some fondness and create some dopamine, a healthy dopamine release if it creates fondness. But at the same time, it's like the problem is once you're living the gimmick so much. But it's good to be in retrospect and like, yeah, this was cool, when I was in, the sportatorium. But if you're still like, limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun at 73 years old, kiss the girls and make them cry, and like just kind of living the gimmick still, it's like, okay, you got to let that go, man. So all the best for Rick, man. I really hope that, I really hope that he can really open his eyes to some good coaching, some good guidance when it comes to separating the man from the gimmick. I do think that's important in his life right now. At 73, he doesn't have much time left. I think it's just time to be like, okay, who am I? You know what I mean? Let me spend my final years figuring out who I am and just being that person, regardless of, this, how the people think about this gimmick. So, and to that point, that's why I give the Undertaker credit. You know what I mean? Like the Undertaker was he lived his gimmick for so long. You work with him. He dressed in black. He was very dark. He lived the gimmick, and I appreciate that because that helped him be the Undertaker. But now he's like, look, I'm Mark Calloway. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, well,
that's who I am.
I look at Nash the same way.
Yeah, Kevin Nash.
Kevin's got a life. He's got so many interests. He could talk to you about politics, movies. I mean, you name it. And there are a lot of guys like that. And I got to tell you something, man. Those are the guys I enjoy listening to because it's not just wrestling, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I really enjoyed the Undertaker's Hall of Fame speech. I loved it. It was fantastic. It was like a transition from Undertaker to Mark Calloway. You know what I mean? Like that was kind of what I saw. In the Hall of Fame speech. It was like Undertaker, like fans. You've seen the Undertaker for so long. Now I want you to meet Mark because I'm retired. You know what I mean? Now this is who I am. He he talked about his faith. He talked about his family. I loved that, man. That was fantastic.
I mean, you look at guys like, Glenn Jacobs.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, these guys are fascinating to me because like that was a big chapter in their life.
Right.
But when the time came, they did something just as equally as important outside of that arena.
Yeah.
Look at Merrill. Look, guys like Mark Merrill now.
Motivational speaking now. Yeah, absolutely.
It's I love that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Likewise. Yeah. Joseph Gonzalez, 499 super chat, bro. Do you think The Rock would make it to Mania? The fact that he hasn't committed yet makes me think he won't. If he won't make it, what's the plan? What do you think, Vince?
That's a great point. Do we know the date of Mania?
First weekend of April.
I mean, bro. I mean, they're cutting it close. I think Joseph is onto something because if it's me, bro, it can't be less than a 3-month promotion.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Chris.
Second.
Yeah, it's got to be 3 months. It's got to be anything shorter than that. I think they're shortchanging themselves.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's I mean, to your point, man, that you've made before, a few times, this hot shot booking to Mania, to me, that's it's unheard of. I've been a wrestling fan for 37 years now. And that's all that since 1985. That was the first WrestleMania. And in the 37 years and 38 WrestleManias, I do not remember, instead of the last the couple years they've kind of hot shot it. But this current era of booking, the past 2 or 3 or so years, I'm like, man, why are you hot shotting stuff like the 11th hour for Mania?
Bro, I'm watching, I do my Attitude Era on Russo's brand. Bro, we started promoting Tyson in November.
Yeah.
November, bro, for Mania. That's when Tyson started. That's when you've got something that big.
Yep.
You cannot do it in less than 3 months, bro.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of that. I mean, because it helps us sink our teeth in, the story, and that's what it's all about. That's what draws the fans. Joseph, once again, 499 super chat. Thank you for your contribution tonight, Joseph Gonzalez. Should Braun Breaker be built up for a whole year to dethrone Reigns? Guys like Goldberg can come back and put him over and give him some credibility. I see. Again, I think you should just come in and bring him as a Heyman guy, just fresh off of NXT, from the heart and soul of NXT as a babyface, heal him up, and I would take away that Braun Breaker name too. I mean, I would bring him in as Bronson Steiner, man. Why not?
I hate that name, bro.
Yeah. What do you think about this as far as
Joseph, I see where you're going. I just don't have the confidence in them to book him for an entire year.
Agreed.
But what I would probably do, Chris, if it were me, man, bro, maybe I would give him 6 months of beating a big name and going up the ladder, going through a Braun Strowman, going through a Lashley, going through a Drew. Like, you give him 6 huge wins, and then all of a sudden, here's the test. You know what I mean?
I hear you. I wouldn't do Lashley and Drew just because I'm like, at least give them some saving grace just in case they need to go to them another time. I would do someone like a Goldberg, honestly. Like I would have Braun destroy Goldberg. Like that will give him some type of, signature when it comes to the main roster. I wouldn't be a fan. I would be a fan very much if you had someone like he comes in Reigns, he takes Reigns out, you know what I mean? Like he takes Reigns out so much that Reigns is off, script. Like he's gone, for 2 or 3 months. That gives him his vacation time, his time away to freshen him up. And then you have one of those things like it's easy for Heyman to cut a promo. See, this is the Bronson Steiner that you've been waiting for. He's dominant. There's no one who can beat him. In the back, you build him up, and all of a sudden Goldberg's music it comes out. Then you do the face off, you go off screen, and that leads to some big match that if they're going to Saudi or something like that. And I wouldn't have any type of 50-50 style match. Bell rings, Goldberg goes for a spear, Steiner kicks out, he goes for another spear, Steiner kicks out, and then Steiner just goes in. He goes in with Goldberg.
And you see, bro, that's another situation where I still can't believe, bro. Like literally, unless ticket sales are in the crapper, I can't believe they're wasting John Cena in this tag team spot. I cannot, because that's another guy. That's
I'm all for
guy.
Yeah, I agree.
Another guy, bro. But to bring Cena in this tag team, that's what I'm talking about, bro. Like, save that for something that's much, much bigger, bro.
I agree, man. I agree, but you keep going to this Legends well, for just December 30th SmackDown before the end of the year, just to pop a rating, and it just to me, like I told you before, it just seems like they're doing this one to pop a rating before the end of the year because it looks good on the Q4 numbers, and then also it's to build up Kevin Owens and to give Owens that rub to make him a worthy opponent against Reigns. And it's like, why do you need to bring in John Cena, who hasn't had a match in over a year and a half, and you bring him in to give a current star the rub to make him a worthier opponent for the champion? Like, how does that make sense in the booking world, man? You have to go to the well of legends to make a current talent look good enough to be a worthy title contender. That goes to show how much they're not building stars.
And they're gonna go, bro, too. They still got Edge in their back pocket.
Oh, absolutely they do.
They're going back to that well. I guarantee you, bro.
Absolutely they do. And he'll probably come out and he'll probably Edge versus Finn, most likely at the Royal Rumble. And it's like, again, like you're not even pushing Finn to like be worthy of like being a good worthy opponent. He's winning and losing too nowadays, man. It's like, what happened to them? Is there like some type of like appeasement that they're trying to like, oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna be sure I'm gonna get you a win. You know what I mean? I'll be sure I'm gonna get you a win here in a couple weeks. It's coming. It's coming. Okay, this week's your week for a win. AJ, I promise you, man. I got you. Bro, give me a couple weeks. I'm gonna have you go over.
Can you imagine if these guys, bro, obviously now with the the off season in baseball with all the free agents, like Scott Boras, bro, is the greatest agent on the planet, right?
Yep.
Bro, can you imagine if these guys actually had agents like Vince Russo? And they gotta come to me, like they gotta come to me with the plans for Finn, and the agents got to approve. Can you imagine, bro, if there was somebody that said, "You want to do what with my guy?"
Right.
What? Can you, bro? I cracked up today because one of the last things they said on Raw tonight was Bobby Lashley has been reinstated. Bro, no reason. No, so I'm like, why did we go through that whole thing for him to be reinstated the next week?
The next day it was.
Really, bro?
Yeah. And again, how does this make the talent looks strong, man. How does it make it look strong?
I don't know.
We'll take a few more super chats if they are here. I'm like, you know what, man? Look, we usually do the cool overlays, man, but I'm gonna do this angle because it shows the Ohio State jerseys that we are in sequence with. We are two people ready to go to battle, and man, I'm looking forward to it. This Saturday is the big day, man. So,
and bro, I got a promo cut on me too because I got a loyal brand member from day one who's a Gator fan, bro.
Really?
And yeah, he's got
to go. Florida sucks, man. Florida hasn't been relevant for a long time, man.
Yeah,
so it doesn't even matter. I wish I was on there with you, man. I would definitely cut a promo on how terrible Florida's been for quite some time nowadays.
Yeah.
So cool, y'all. Well, if there's no more super chats, man, I think we're gonna close up the recap show for this week. 2022 moments on this show, man. Like forget Raw, you know.
Oh yeah, that would have been a highlight reel.
Yeah,
bro. That would have been a highlight reel. Yes, yeah, I'd watch that, man.
Yes, indeed, man. Yes, indeed. Can you think of like anything that this year on the show that stood out with you? You know,
oh God,
anything?
bro, it's every week, man.
We've had 52 of these shows, man.
It's every week, man. It's every week.
What are some of your favorite segments that we've done over the past?
Oh my God,
I
bro.
know your favorite segment for 2021 was the Bouncy's tribute video that we had. 2021 to 2021.
Well, you know, the respect, the weekly respect we pay Toots, and
yes,
you know, the Black Scorpion always popping in when we don't expect them. You know, the pose downs, bro.
Yes,
come on, man. You know,
people are saying Candice LaRue. You call her
Candice
you call her Candice LaRue.
Candice LaRue, man.
Yeah, the Bouncies. That was 2020. We put 2021. We put over Veer and the Bouncies like crazy, man.
Yes. What happened? Is Veer still with the company?
Man, he put. I saw him. He went back to NXT. I think he was competing in like NXT live events. So yeah, he's not even with.
I guarantee you, bro, that Bray match tonight with Jinder at the Garden. I guarantee you, Bray said he wanted to work with Jinder.
I can see that.
Guarantee you, that's why that was the match.
I can see that. I still want Jinder to have a babyface run.
So do I, bro. I don't. What is the bro? Give him the benefit of the doubt, unless it's injuries.
Mm-hmm.
God, bro, that guy, he has it,
man. He does. You know, he has been injury prone, over the past couple of years.
He has been,
yeah, and that's always a black mark when it comes to the trust that they have, in someone. So, and I can see that being the case for Jinder. He really has it, man. You know, he looks like $1 million. He has the character. I really think that they need to just try something different with him, man, because this foreign heel gimmick, you know what I mean? Like every now and then it works. It worked with Russo for a hot second, but it kind of pigeonholed him to be this like very, menacing monster heel, you know what I mean? And it's like every now and then that works, but nowadays it's like you got to have a little bit more character. You know what I mean? And I think with someone like a Jinder Mahal, I think that in the show his character more, you know what I mean, than just foreign heel gimmick. You know what I mean? It's really pigeonholed.
They just get into those stereotypical gimmicks, and they've been doing that for the last 50 years, bro. Yep. Come on,
we got some good ones. You talking about Johnny Wrestling. A few okay, I like this. Okay, a few people said that they were big fans of none other than this.
Time out, Joey! Time out, Joey!
Yes, Joey. Yes.
Nice. Well, we got to give some shout outs. There's a couple other people who said, Rizu's in the building. The highlight for 2022 was finding out that EC3 loves digging.
Yes,
Very
that
nice.
was interesting.
Yes, it was. Yes,
the peepee foam was.
Oh man, yeah.
That was a bombshell.
Oh man, did you see the Velveteen Dream video, the police video when he got arrested back in August? It recently came out on
Not
TMZ.
the one when he was cutting up. No, I did not see that one.
Man,
No.
you need to see that, man.
Oh,
Oof.
really?
Man, it's sad, bro.
Oh,
it's
man.
it's sad, man.
Yeah,
it's really sad. People were asking where's Omos. Omos actually was in he was in Columbus. He wrestled against your boy Mustafa Ali, man.
Oh, let me guess who went over there.
Easy. Omos went over.
So what was the main event then tonight?
Triple threat cage match for the United States Championship. Gargano, he beats Baron Corbin to qualify in it, and the other two were already in it, which was Damian Priest and Theory.
So Theory retained.
Yeah, he retained. Yeah, it was a cage match, and so yeah, it was. I had a front row, so like it was pretty cool. MVP's cool piece, man. He was healing it up. It was pretty cool, and he was talking to people were talking about his shades. A friend of mine, you know, he was talking about his shades. He's like, I appreciate it, and then he healed up and started talking about his hairstyle. So it was pretty cool. Bayley was healing it up pretty good. Like what I like about house shows, man, because I'm good friends with Bobby Fulton, and he has his own league here, his own wrestling promotion in Ohio. So he has shows throughout Ohio that I go and support and do some media and get some interviews and stuff. And it's just that old school, like the heels are healing it up really good and just like talking to the kids and demeaning the kids and stuff like that. Corbin did a really good job at doing that. Bayley did a really good job doing that. It's funny because she grabbed the mic. Bayley, I think it's time for her to do a babyface turn because her heel is getting stale for me.
Oh, she should have been a Karen. They so missed the boat on
that would be hilarious.
How do you not look at her? She is a typical Karen. She would have got so much. How do you miss that, bro?
Be funny.
That's what they should have done.
Especially since she would Bianca Belair being a Karen.
Okay, but just follow her into department stores and getting coffee at Starbucks and a cop giving her a parking ticket. I mean, my God, come on, man.
That would be absolutely
And her
hilarious.
just telling everybody I'm Bayley. Don't you know who I am?
Yeah, don't you know who I am? Like
tremendous, man.
It just like randomly getting upset with Bianca Belair, like, you know. Yeah, I had this cart before you did. I had the cart before you did. Look, caller. Ouch. You know,
bro, I swear to God, Chris, you could spend 24 hours. You could spend a straight day on YouTube with Karen videos. All they need to do is,
bro.
That's all they need to do is stage the ones that are on YouTube. There is a year of content.
Vince, guilty pleasure. One of the things that I do to check out for the evening and retire for the evening is I go on YouTube and watch Karen videos.
I do the same thing, bro. Bro, their work is already done for them.
Yes.
Just show her those videos and do reenactments.
Oh man, that would be absolutely fantastic.
Oh man, bro. She looks like a Karen too.
And she did it, and she Karened, you know, definitely tonight when she was peeling it up to the kids, and you know, she was someone had some little kid he was probably 8 or 9. Or 10, he had a Cheeto sweater on, and like a few of the heels were like jabbing at his Cheeto sweater. And Bayley, like him and Bayley was going at it. He was like just a few seats to the left of me on the front row, and him and Bayley were jawing at each other. Bayley, she healed it up so much, which I thought was hilarious. She rode out the ring, she grabbed the mic, she goes over to Cheeto's boy. And then she starts talking about and pulling a promo of Cheeto's boy, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. And then I started a Cheetos chant, and then she was like, she's like, I hate Cheetos. Like, she looked at me, and because I started the chant, she's like, I hate Cheetos, and she said to me, I kept the Cheetos chant. It was see, stuff like that is fun, man. I enjoy
because
stuff
that's
like
what
that.
they need to do on TV, but they're scared to death, bro.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
They're
exactly.
scared to death.
It
God
has
forbid we say something that's not scripted.
Yeah, it has to be by the book. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So yeah.
Yep.
Couple more super chats. Let's see. Good stuff, y'all. People saying Joey. A lot of people saying people like the Joey. Time out, Joey. Sitcom Tech with the $2 super chat. It should be Cena versus Rock 3. It'd be pitch perfect. For Mania. I'm not quite sure about that. What do you think? Cena Rock 3 versus Mania?
Well,
Mania.
it depends how he does in his tag team match, bro.
Yeah.
You know,
we'll see. The jury's still out on that.
Yeah, the jury's still out. We got to watch. He's got to get this big win under his belt in his tag match. Then we'll talk about it, bro.
It's a big match, man. So, Joseph, once again, man, thank you, man. Ali should have more and more pages weekly, right?
That would be tremendous. That would be great.
That would be classic, man. I would really like
great. Yes.
And just accrue the bandages every week till he's just kind of mummified.
Yes, that would be tremendous. Yeah.
So we got mummified Ali and Karen Bayley, man. I love it. I love it. Jay said, "Bring back the boogeyman." 199 super chat. Yeah, good stuff, man. This has been fun for the recap for 2022, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all, SK Nation, for a fun year once again. Listen, regardless if you like Raw or not, man, it gets really, really tough. But man, look, this show here, the Legion of Raw, every single week, we have the funnest time. It's all a gimmick, man. Listen, we don't people, unlike a lot of people who live and sweat and die pro wrestling, you know, and get so offended when people disagree with their take on pro wrestlers. Vince and I, look, we have fun, man. You know, we don't eat and drink and
bro. It's a TV show, correct, bro. And me and Chris come here every week and we talk about a TV show.
Precisely.
Yes.
And if it's a bad TV show, we're going to talk about how bad it is. I mean, like, you know, like my Titans, who's lost 5 straight, you know what I mean?
That's your boy. That's your fair-haired boy from Tennessee, bro, with the curse. He's the only one that can get it lifted, bro.
Old Double J, man.
You know?
Double J.
I mean, when Tony Khan's going to kick you out of the playoffs, bro. Like, I don't even
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, my God, bro. Seriously, the freaking Jacksonville Jaguars are going to
7-8.
Oh, bro, come on, man.
7-8 Jacksonville Jaguars. Tony Khan's team, ladies and gentlemen.
Do they play them again or they're done with them?
Last game of the season.
Oh,
January
8th. Where's it at?
It's at Jacksonville, I think, because I think they beat them at Tennessee.
Man, bro.
Let me check. Yeah, because I think that they have Dallas next, the Titans, and then they have the Jags at the end of the year.
Ooh.
So yeah, that's basically going to be a playing game, because right now the Jags are they're number 1 now because they beat they're both 7-8, and then Jags beat the Titans, so they have the head-to-head. So the Jacksonville Jaguars are now leading the AFC South.
So say
yeah, it's at Jacksonville.
Say Titans beat Jacksonville and they have the same exact record. Does it then go to point differential?
It's they probably won't have the same record, but if it is the same record, it would be a head-to-head.
But if it's 1-1, then that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like I said, it'll be a wash. And so but because right now I think it would be. Yeah, like it may go to points. That would be a weird thing. From what I've seen from what I've read, basically they said that whoever wins, that would be in the playoffs. Because I think if they lose to Dallas, if Tennessee loses to Dallas, they'll be 7-9. and then Jacksonville will be 8-8 if they win.
Well, who does Jacksonville have next?
Jacksonville has, I think they have a team that they are probably most likely going to beat. Because we were supposed to be beating the Texans. They only won one game.
I think it's supposed to be is it the Texans, bro? Are they playing the Texans?
It might be Houston, but Houston beat them before though. So they have Houston on New Year's Day.
Wow.
So that oh man, that's they beat. It's funny, the only 2 wins that the Texans have had this whole year was against Jacksonville and Tennessee.
Bro, I swear to God, we were about 2 games into the NFL season.
Yeah.
And Bischoff and Khan are at war and they have the odds.
Yeah.
Bischoff went off on the Jaguars that they were the NFL's, and I said then, bro, don't say it, don't say it, and then look what happened, man.
Yeah. From what I understand, it would be conference record.
Yeah, that's
so their conference record, it just shows the actual record, and it shows their home and away.
Yeah.
I don't see their conference record. So from what I understood, whoever wins between Tennessee and Jacksonville will go in because of conference records, because unfortunately Texas was in conference because they're in the AFC South too. But if hopefully Houston beats Jacksonville, which they probably won't, but Jacksonville has them and then us, man. So it's not looking good for Tennessee. So
yeah.
All right, let's see what else we have before we head out. So before we leave, we got our boy.
There he is, man.
Sending us off for 2022. Our guy Toots.
Yes.
Toots, you've been such an integral part of 2022 here on the Legion of Raw, man.
Inspiration to me.
Absolutely, man. Just an inspirational, generational talent, ladies and gentlemen. This guy here, Toots Mont. And
oh boy.
You can't leave me out. Who in the world do you think you are? Leaving me out of this 2022. Get that ticker out of here, man. Get it out of here. It's just me. I don't want a ticker. I don't want anything else. I want just me, the Black Scorpion.
Unbelievable.
2002 has been my year on the
Yes.
Legion of Raw. And ladies and gentlemen, never forgets the rope work.
Very nice. Very nice, Scorpion, making a last appearance of the year. Very nice. Yes.
Very nice. Vince Russo, let them know about Channel Attitude.
Guys, check it out. ChannelAttitude.com for all your podcasting, guys. Just check it out, man. A lot of good shows on there.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. This guy right here is Vince Russo. Follow him at the Vince Russo on Twitter. Follow me at Chris Prolific on Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, we got another $5 super chat. Run in, turn Cena heel and take out KO. Go for Flair's championship record beating Reigns. Happy New Year.
All right. Hey, I'll take that's the best thing I've heard all night. Very nice, Kate Vince.
I wouldn't mind Cena heel. We need more time. Just give people time. You know what I mean? That's my thing. So on behalf of the Toots Mont, the Black Scorpion, Vince Russo, this is the final Legion of Raw of 2022. It has been a fun year with all the SK Nation, and Lord willing, we will be back next Monday, and it's going to be fun starting off for the new year. It's going to be great as always. We can only get bigger and better here on the Legion of Raw, man. We've had a great year. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Vince Russo, Dr. Chris, Black Scorpion, Toots Mont, and the rope work, have a good night, ladies and gentlemen.